Questions.
Alright, how's it going? Welcome to the very first edition of Ultimate Questions. Now, the only reason I can actually do this Ultimate Questions is because guess what? I've actually had some questions in. So thanks to all clan members that have sent in some questions for me. I really appreciate it. So keep them coming. The very first question I had, and this is the very first question I had, is from Gareth Smith. Gareth, cheers, mate. I appreciate you sending in a question for me. I met Gareth on Facebook via the Jackie Chan Appreciation Group, which Paul Dre kindly invited me to. So thanks, Paul Dre, for inviting me to that. This is how I meet lovely blokes like Gareth from that group. So thanks very much. Gareth is a brilliant bloke, really nice, really friendly. We got chatting straight away about stuff. He's recently started his own YouTube channel, Yorkshire Pudding Collects with a Z, and he's on Instagram, G Straits. And on his social media, on his YouTube channel, he unboxes all his collection and has a chat about it, stuff that he's collected in the past, new pickups that he's getting. So, brilliant channel, and I wish you all the best with it, Gareth. So, let's get on to your question. What made you a Kung Fu fan? So, a very straightforward, basic question. But I'm going to say, given that I've actually read this out in the order of the questions received, and this was genuinely the very first one, I'm going to actually say that it's a perfect one for the first episode. So the answer I'm going to say is a lot of it is down to my dad's brother, Uncle Peter. Now, when we were growing up, Uncle Peter was very active in looking after his nieces and nephews. He was a fit, strong, muscular, well, he still is, uncle. And this guy had abs, and he trained karate and Kyokushin Kai, and he even took me to boxing classes and stuff when I was young. So he was very influential as an uncle. A very big part of our lives, And I know that my brother and my other cousins will attest to this. And they all do. So thanks, Uncle Peter, for looking after us and still taking an interest in everything that we do. Now, as I said, this guy was into training and stuff. And he used to let me smash him and punch him and everything. Bash. In his abs and all that. In his stomach. He used to let me punch him as hard as I could. And it didn't do anything. But you see, the thing is, I didn't know no Qigong back then. I didn't have the true powers. So I was taking it easy on him. But anyway, it never ever got through. He let me do whatever I want and smash him up. And it just didn't do anything because he was powers. So this guy used to show us boxing fights and stuff. So classic ones, Hagler, Hearns, things that he thought were brilliant. So there's a small amount of inspiration there. However, the true inspiration is the films he used to put on. And there was a videotape that had Enter the Dragon and The Man, the Myth on it. There was some other films. I think one called Bruce's Fingers rings a bell. They all were Bruce Lee or non-real Bruce. So brilliant stuff. And obviously, at that time, I was only young, very hard to decipher my actual age back then because obviously I wasn't thinking about it going, I must remember what age I am so that I can say it later on Ultimate Questions. Obviously, I didn't think like that. But I was young, under 10, 6, 7, 8, I don't know, but very young. And we used to go to visit my nan's, at least once a month, every other weekend, regular. And he was always there, and he always used to put stuff on for us to watch. But we did always request, where's the Chinese man fighting tape? Put those films on. So we used to watch that tape all the time. And for years, whenever we went round there, it was, can you put that tape on? Like I said, Enter the Dragon and Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth. Now, eventually, some years later, Uncle Peter gave me the tape. He actually gifted it to me, and here is the original tape. There you go. This is the original tape, the one that got me into the Kung Fu. And there it is, look. Yeah. Right, look at that. Look at this here, look. This Kung Fu here. Even made Kung Fu stickers for it. And there it is, Enter the Dragon, there you go. This is the one. This is the one that started it all. But I was still very young at the time. So this stuff, I knew that there was something going on. I constantly requested it, me and my brother. Put those films on. So we knew we were watching something special, of course, and something that we wanted more of. But it kind of sort of started and ended there because there was nothing else. There was just that. There was there was definitely some other non-real Bruces. One Bruce's fingers, I remember that. But the interesting thing about this particular tape is, and remembering how young I was and the era I grew up in with the BBFC and everything, that this tape, these two editions of these films, Enter the Dragon and Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth, both of them have nunchuck scenes in, and both of the versions on this tape have nunchucks in. There's no issues there. So if you like, you could say, even though I grew up in that era of everything being cut and censored, you could say that I actually grew up watching uncut Bruce and Bruce Lies, because these versions are uncut. And for many years after that, when we rebought these films on VHS and on DVD, they were cut and censored. So we had to keep going back to this tape and go, oh, hang on a minute, we've got this tape though. This has got, this has got the nunchucks in it. Strange, right? So I have no idea where they came from, apart from they came from Uncle Peter. I've, of course, asked Uncle Peter, do you know where that tape came from? And he says he don't remember. That's a shame, because I would like to know, because where did he get these uncut Bruce and Bruce Lie films all the way back then? Where did this tape come from? So I can't tell you the actual origin of this tape, but I can only tell you from my point of view, my dad's brother, Uncle Peter, uncut versions. So that is pretty weird that they had nunchucks in. So for years, we had nunchuck versions, even when there was no nunchuck versions, which is obviously brilliant. So as I say, there wasn't much outside of this tape, and we were very, very young, so we wouldn't have been able to sort of think outside of this tape. Every time we went round there, we just asked for the tape to be put on, until years and years later, Peter finally gave us the tape, so then we could watch it at our leisure. But it wasn't until sometime later, and I want to say sometime later, it wasn't that much later. I was still young. I was still under 10. I was probably still 7, 8 years old or something like that. And we were staying at my mum and dad's friend's house, and the parents were going out, and my mum and dad's friend had a son called Davin, and Davin was, my brother's 3 years older than me, and Davin is older than my brother. Not by much, but he's still older, right? And he was tasked with looking after us when the parents went out for a bit. So he went round a video shop and he rented out Snake in the Eagle's Shadow. And I guess that was to keep us quiet. And that was it. Anyone who knows that film and anyone who's had this experience, the same experience that I had and my brother had as well, are going to know. And my guess is that Davin also had that experience, because why of all the films did he rent out Snake in the Eagle's Shadow? I mean, we know why. Because he knew Snake in the Eagle's Shadow was brilliant. He knew there's something about it. He knew it would work on the kids. So that was the film. And there was no chance of owning this film or anything like that. I was only a kid. But I remember instantly, I mean, you can see the red background here. You know what the inspiration is, right? The Snake in the Eagle's Shadow, the snake and crane, the Kung Fu background intro is the red background. Instantly, I was glued to the screen. Instantly, I was drawn to it. I had no, concept of what I was watching. The only thing I could relate it to is other Chinese man, Bruce Lee and Bruce Lie. But this was kind of like different. As you know, there are different styles of films. And this guy was doing animal styles, this Jackie Chan, right? Snake fist, had the wicked snake sounds, had all the sounds on it. He was flipping around. I could see that it was actually him doing the flips. He was landing, getting up, turning to the camera, standing there, posing. The music at the time, it isn't the Cantonese soundtrack, it's the English one. So I had dun 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 ra 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 ra. Everything drew me in. The yellow font, Seraphim Alexis presents. Everything drew me in. The yellow font on the red background. The guy with the sleeveless, obviously Jackie Chan, with the sleeveless top with his muscles hanging out. Just amazing. And then obviously the film opens with that and you're already in. That's it. You're done. There was no, I needed no more. But beyond that, the film continues. And as anyone knows, seen it, it's an amazing film all the way through. It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's wholesome. It's the best. It's absolutely fantastic. So it's no surprise that Snake in Eagle Shadow had this profound effect on me, and that these films, they do change you. You know, they make you who you are. Whatever it is, whatever experiences you have, and whatever stuff you consume and watch will all shape the person you are. And Snake in Eagle Shadow is very, very responsible for that. So you have Uncle Peter, and now you have Davin, the two people that exposed me to this stuff. Like I said, I couldn't go out and buy Snake and Eagle Shadow. I watched it as many times as I could that day, over and over again, until it needed to be taken back to the video shop. And I remember when my mum and dad came back, I just couldn't stop going on about it. You don't understand. I've just watched this film. It's brilliant. It's this, it's that. Oh, okay, brilliant. Love you. Fantastic. But the impact was done. It was finished. It was in the blood, in the soul, in the DNA. That's it. It now became part of me. There was no going back. I'd seen it. I'd seen Snake Fist. I'd seen Eagle Claw. I'd seen Cat. This was just the start. The training sequences. The old teacher. Everything. What is this stuff? What is this Snake Fist? What is this Kung Fu? Who is this bloke? Who are these other blokes? Done. But too young to really, really know what to do with this, apart from to cry about it. So, round to the video shops. We got to find this stuff, right? I was never able to buy it. As you know, it was rental only back then. There was no way to buy these films. It was rental. That was it. That was all it was. So there was no buying these films. So I did end up with Snake and Eagle Shadow. There it is. Snake and Eagle Shadow on vid. Is it written on it? Yeah, there you go. Snake and Eagle Shadow. Written on vid. There it is. Yeah, I did end up with it on vid. This is my first copy of Snake and Eagle Shadow. In my opinion, the best copy of Snake and Eagle Shadow. But you know why, right? Because it's the one. It is the one. When I found it again in a video shop back home, I rented it out. Made myself one. Got the ingredients and made myself one. And ended up with Snake and Eagle Shadow. And was able to watch it over and over and over again. And that is the version that is instilled in me. Everything. The dubbing. The yellow font on the red background. The music. You know, the soundtrack. That version. That's the version. That's my only version. Yes, sure. I saw it later on in Cantonese. And I did appreciate that. And I loved it. Great. But that's my version. So there you go. Snake and Eagle Shadow. That was the one that truly made it go to the next level. It wasn't just a kid watching the odd Kung Fu film here and there. It wasn't that anymore. It was, I need this film. I need to know who that bloke is. And I need more of it. And obviously it went from there. So I don't know if, I do think Enter the Dragon, Man the Myth were enough. But just as a process of getting a little bit older, having a bit more realization that it isn't just these two films and there's more out there, made me go, okay, now I need to truly seek this stuff out, including more Bruce Lee and more Bruce Lee stuff. So it started. But Snake and Eagle Shadow was the true launch pad. I was watching true real life superheroes on the screen. Human beings doing things that superheroes in comic books were doing, and they wasn't real. They were fictional. And this guy was real. He was a human being, and he was doing these things that I didn't think human beings could do. I hadn't seen human beings do it. I was only a kid. I hadn't even watched gymnastics on TV. So I hadn't seen Kung Fu like this, not like this. And I hadn't seen blokes moving around like this. So this was a real eye-opener for me, and I am not surprised that it led on to everything else. So that's it, really. All I'll say after that is, because it was all the X-rentals and you couldn't buy videos at that time, I will also say, as part of this answering this question of what made you a Kung Fu fan, is I'll show you the very first film that I purchased, that I owned, original, X-rental. These were films where you had to go into the video shop and say to them, can I buy this yet? Can I have this yet? Can I stop renting it, because with this, right, I had two choices. Just keep going back, renting it, taking it back, renting it, taking it back, or making my own version. But, I wanted the original. I wanted the cover. I wanted all that. So the very first film, even though it's not the question, but it's part of the progression of the question, the very first film that me and my brother ever owned, that we actually bought before there was such a thing as retailing videos, was this, Dragon Lord. And there you go. And of course, I still have it. Totally and utterly cherish this video. I watched it so much that I knew every single word of it. The film would start, and before they started speaking, I could say all the words. Nicola, my cousin, was the same. He would come round, this would go on. We all know this film absolutely loads because it was consumed loads, right? Snake and Eagle Shadow, Drunken Master, Young Master, later on Police Story, Wheels and Mills and stuff like that. But things like this, you think about it, apart from the odd film, this was treasured. It was the only thing I had. So, of course, I watched it over and over and over again and enjoyed doing that. That wasn't a chore. I loved it. So it got watched, consumed, and that is why these things back then are so ingrained in the memory. Because we're not distracted with other things back then, right? We don't have jobs and bills and stuff like that to worry about. We just have, we're kids, so we're growing up. So I was able to fully engross myself in this stuff, along with some video games as well, of course. But that is why I consumed it, and that is why I retain the information, and that is why I remember it. Number one, I'm interested and I want to know about it, but it's a natural memory. I didn't try to remember the words of that film. I didn't try to remember these films. They were just consumed and watched at a time when my brain was ready to receive information. And like I said, it's over and over and over again. I mean, look at the box. I mean, it needs a separate vid. That's a bit weird, this Guild sticker. It's not. It's a brilliant sticker, but it is actually on the cover. Don't ruin my box, but it hasn't, because that's what it is. And it's the same there. We've got this Guild sticker here. Look at that. Look, showing that its power's a ridge. And look at the box. Listen to that. Listen, look at the colour of the box. Look at the colour of the box. Look at it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's everything. It's everything. It's the artwork. It's the name of it. It's the seals. It's the description. Fists and fun. Fly fast and furious when the Dragon Lord fights to save his nation's treasure. Now, I knew what the film was because I rented it out first, plenty of time. I knew it's this bloke. It's the Snake and Eagle Shadow bloke. Something's going on here. Then it opens you up to other things. Who's this? Who's the bloke he's fighting? Yeah, who's this wanging sick bloke? What's going on here? So, each time you see a film, Thunderfoot, Huang Zhang Li, each time you see a film, it opens you up to new stuff. So, everything on here is brilliant. Golden Harvest. Let's just open it up and have a look. Look at this. Look, it's all qual. All qual. All qual. Let's have a look at the tape. Look at the tape. Look at the tape. Look, sorry, wrong side. Look at the markings on the tape. Look at how qual that is. Look at that. Right? So you can see why, as a kid, look at these different colour waves on it. Look. So you can see why, as a kid, I totally treasured it. Love it. I just love it. And I'm so glad that I still have it in my possession and it hasn't gone anywhere. So that Dragon Lord is the very first own vid. So to summarise, Gareth Smith, what made you a Kung Fu fan? I bet you wasn't expecting an answer that long. Uncle Peter, this tape. Yeah? Kung Fu. Kung Fu, there you go. Kung Fu. Enter the Dragon, Man the Myth. Snake and Eagle Shadow. Homemade, upside down, homemade ingredients version. And then the first own vid, Dragon Lord. And obviously it went from there and it hasn't stopped. So there you go. I'll leave it there. Gareth, thank you very much for your question. That is my answer to what made you a Kung Fu fan. Anyone got any questions? Send them in. Thanks to everyone for subscribing, liking, sharing, all that stuff that I never talk about. I really do appreciate it. I don't talk about it because it's not what it's about, but I still really, really appreciate all your support. I love doing this for that reason, that people bringing people together, creating a space where we can all chat about this stuff. That, what it creates spiritually for me, is priceless. Money cannot buy that. So thanks very much for all the interactions with you lot. Brilliant clan members. Absolutely love it. Gareth, thanks. Good luck with your channel. And thank you very much for that question. And I'll see you next time for another Ultimate question. I've got more, but that's episode 1 from Gareth Smith. What made me a Kung Fu fan? Nice one. Thanks very much. See you later.
See you later! Thanks for watching.